Kim Taehyung is a 32-year-old dynamic and ambitious president of South Korea. Coming from a prominent and wealthy family, he was raised with the best education and opportunities. His parents instilled in him a strong sense of responsibility and civic duty, which inspired him to enter politics and ultimately lead his nation. Despite his many accomplishments and a busy schedule, his mother remains deeply concerned about his personal life. She has been particularly frustrated by his refusal to consider marriage, often expressing her disappointment over the numerous proposals he has turned down. Her desire for him to settle down and start a family weighs heavily on her heart. However, everything changes one fateful day when an unexpected encounter challenges his views on love and commitment. But one day, Taehyung, Secretary Lee, I have to say I'm really impressed with how you managed everything today. Your attention to detail was outstanding. Lee, thank you, sir. It's an honor to serve you, but, his phone rings, sorry, sir. Taehyung, go ahead and answer. It might be something important. Lee, yes. Hello? He answers the call, his expression shifting to concern. Lee, where exactly? Lee, let me take care of that, alright? Lee, alright, bye. That girl. Taehyung, is there a problem? Lee, yes, today was YN's last exam, and unfortunately, her scooter broke down in the middle of the road. She's stuck and can't find a cab to get home. Taehyung, do you know where she is now? Lee, she's on XXXX Road, near the old library. Taehyung, that's conveniently on our route. We can pick her up, it won't be a problem. Lee is sir, I appreciate the offer, but Taehyung, it's really no trouble at all. We'll help her out. Lee, thank you, sir. You're too kind. I'll call her to let her know we're on the way. Taehyung, perfect. Let's make sure she feels supported on a day that should be a celebration of her hard work. They arrived at the location, and Lee quickly spotted his daughter. He stepped out of the car while the security vehicles formed a protective barrier around them. Taehyung was focused on his tablet, reviewing important documents when suddenly the back door opened, and a girl slipped inside. YN, hello. Her sweet, melodic voice made Taehyung's heart skip multiple beats. Driver Kong, hello, YN. YN flashed a warm smile at him, and Taehyung felt as if his heart had jumped into his throat. He couldn't tear his gaze away from her. Noticing his lingering stare, YN blushed and tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. Up front, Mr. Lee was engrossed in a phone call, while Mr. Kong discreetly observed the interaction through the rearview mirror, a knowing smirk spreading across his face. Taehyung looked away, gulping as he realized the intensity of his feelings. Taehyung, in his mind, what's happening to me? Why is my heart racing like this? I just want to keep staring at her. YN, in her mind, why is he looking at me like that? Could it be, he's falling for me? Oh my god. My crush might actually have a crush on me. Despite her best efforts to focus elsewhere, YN couldn't help but glance sideways at Taehyung, who was still entranced by her. She smiled internally, thinking. YN, in her mind, keep staring, my future husband, fall hard for me. Kong struggled to suppress a grin as he witnessed the unfolding chemistry between them. As the car came to a stop near Lee's house, YN prepared to step out. Just then, her scarf slipped from her hands, and both she and Taehyung instinctively reached for it. Their hands brushed together, sending an electric jolt through both of them. Taehyung quickly pulled his hand back, while YN hastily retrieved the scarf and exited the vehicle. YN, bye. Taehyung cleared his throat, trying to regain his composure. The moment lingered in the air, leaving him wondering what had just happened. YN, She bursts in, excitement bubbling over. Mrs. Lee, what's going on? YN, Mom. I met him. She rushes to hug her mother tightly. Mrs. Lee, whom are you talking about? YN, your future son-in-law. She holds her mother's shoulders, eyes sparkling. Mrs. Lee sighed, a mix of amusement and exasperation. Yuna. Dream all you want, but there's no text on those dreams. YN made a face of disbelief. Why is she here? Mrs. Lee lightly tapped Yuna on the head. Mrs. Lee, she's your elder sister, behave. With that, she headed into the kitchen. Yuna, did he even notice you? Notice? He couldn't look away.
Oh.
Goodness. She flopped onto the couch, a dreamy expression on her face. He gave me hope today. Yuna smiled, her heart warmed by her sister's enthusiasm. Yuna, I really wish you get your first love. What about your first love? Yuna, he's on a business trip. I came here to stay for a few days. Did your mother-in-law let you? Yuna made a face, clearly unimpressed. Yuna, I don't know why she hates me so much. I really wish you get a mother-in-law who loves you like mom, not like mine. Jumped up and wrapped her arms around Yuna. And I wish your mother-in-law would get some common sense. Yuna, now that's impossible. Both sisters burst into laughter, their bond stronger than ever as they chatted about their dreams and aspirations. Mrs. Kim, the day Taehyung decides to get married, I will feed 1,000 beggars. Mr. Kim, don't stress yourself out. Mrs. Kim, how can I not? We had 2 kids by his age. Mr. Kim, your son is unique, so I'm sure the universe has created a unique match for him. Mrs. Kim, dear God, please let him meet his soulmate soon. Just then, their attention shifted to the door as Taehyung entered, accompanied by Mr. Lee. He looked a bit lost in thought, a smile playing on his lips. After exchanging greetings, they made their way toward Taehyung's study. Mr. and Mrs. Kim exchanged shocked glances. Mrs. Kim, has he lost his mind? Mr. Kim, he's acting like a lovesick teenager. Mrs. Kim, love and him are 2 different paths that never cross. Mr. Kong, they might be about to meet. Mr. Kim, who? Mr. Kong bowed politely to the Kim couple. Mr. Kong, the paths. Mrs. Kim, what do you mean? Mr. Kong, just tell me, would you mind if the girl he likes comes from a middle-class family? Mrs. Kim, of course not. If she's a good girl, that's all that matters. Mr. Kong, I assure you, she's very innocent and sweet, perfect for President Kim. The couple exchanged glances, curiosity piqued. Mrs. Kim, who is she? Where did they meet? What does she look like? How? Mr. Kong, Madam President Kim will share all the details very soon, along with a marriage proposal. Just be ready for it. Mrs. Kim, oh my God. Finally. Mr. Kong smiled knowingly, bowing as he exited, leaving the Kim couple buzzing with excitement and anticipation.